Hello everyone. I'm back for another chapter of my testimony series. And this chapter is on answering my call to ministry. And as I told you in the beginning, and I've told you throughout the series, that I was called to ministry at 11, but and Lucy is in attendance, by the way. So if you hear her, she's a little rambunctious. But as I was saying, at 11 I was called to ministry, but I didn't really think that growing up in rural Alabama in a Baptist church, that female ministers just was frowned upon. And so I didn't pay a lot of attention to that. I actually thought it was someone else's calling. But at 41, I finally surrendered. And but not in the traditional way. My very best friend, as I told you in the first chapter, that I prayed for a house full of big brothers. And because I'm an only child, my mother said that was not possible. Well, with God, all things are possible. And so I began praying for big brothers. And my first one came into my life the first day of first grade. And so Shannon and I have been best friends all of our lives. He's still in my life, his wife, his two daughters. I mean, I see them almost every day, and it's a blessing. But when he met Jamie and the girls, and he started getting really serious about them, we discussed he was going to get married, and I was like, well, you know, I'll be right there by your side. And he was like, of course, I know that. And he said I wouldn't have it any other way. And we're both only children by genetics, I guess you would say. But in his heart, I'm his sister, and in my heart, he is my brother, and I would debate anyone on that. Blood does not make you family. It makes you related. But what makes you family is being together since you were 6 years old. And at 45, he's been putting up with me for a very long time. And I wouldn't trade the life that God gave me with my brother Shannon and all of my siblings that I have accumulated along the way. So he proposed to Jamie. We start planning the wedding, and he said, well, what do you want to do? He said, you know, you can be my best girl instead of a best man. Jamie said I could be whatever part of the wedding I wanted to be. Well, I'd been a bridesmaid. I'd been a bride. I've planned and directed so many weddings over the year, but I had never officiated one. And since I worked my 8 to 4:30 job Monday through Friday is in the legal field, I just thought being an officiant was just making marriages legal. I didn't really think about, even though you're called a minister, I didn't really think of myself that I was going to be a minister. So when I said, well, who's going to officiate the wedding? And he said, we don't have anyone yet. So that became my job. And I got online, and about 15 minutes later, I'm a minister. Now, some people would say, well, you're not really a minister. Well, yes, you are. And when God has anointed this calling on your life, doesn't matter what avenue you get there, you just got to get there. And so in September of 2017, I became an ordained minister. And there again, I still just thought, I'm making it legal. I'm a notary. I work in the legal field every day. This is just another thing to add to it. But when I got my packet of stuff, I was real excited. And kind of like Ralphie in a Toy Story when he got his Ovaltine packet and running in there. Well, I was sitting in my bed reading through the material that night, and I start looking at what makes a wedding legal. Well, as a minister ordained, you have a lot of responsibility. So don't take that as something light if you just get online and become an ordained minister to marry your best friend of 30 years. Take that very, very seriously, because you can baptize people, you can marry people, and you can pray or administer a funeral. Well, those are three of the most important things that happen on earth. And they have to have an officiant. And I just knew in that moment, and I just looked up and I just said, God, you always get your way. And right then and there, I just surrendered to the calling. But I knew when I did that, that came with some changes that had to be made. Not that I was a real bad person, but I did some things and would say things or watch things or listen to things or just general stuff that you might not think about. But when you're becoming a minister and you're going to be an example, or as I always say, a Christ representative, you need to walk a finer line or a narrower path than the common person or the unbeliever. It is more narrow. It is a harder path, but you need to be the example. And to be a minister, I knew I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect until I get home in heaven. But while I'm here, I had to refine myself. And the only way you can do that is to surrender to the Lord and let Him do that through you, through sanctification. And that is setting you apart from the rest, so you can be that love and light and that great Christ representative in this world. And so the journey has been amazing since then. On October 1st of 2017, I administered my first wedding, and it was such an honor to be a part of someone's special day, and of course it being Shannon and Jamie's special day, and my two nieces. It's a day I'll never forget, and I appreciate that my very first brother was the reason that I finally surrendered to my calling, and I will forever be thankful to Shannon for that. And he knows how much I love him, and Jamie and the girls. But after the wedding, slowly I began to think, okay, so what now? And one night I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of person. The ones of you that know me personally, you know I'm full ahead, all in, or all out. And I thought, okay, well now I'm a minister, and I guess I should sell my house and everything, and apply to Liberty to go to school, to uproot my life and Lucy's life, and get a theology degree, and la 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 la, and in my mind, and I'm just talking out loud, and then it was kind of like, okay, Lord, what do you think about that? And I know He was sitting there like, okay, are you gonna include me in this conversation? And when you're making decisions, you should always start with asking God, what do you think of this? give me discernment, give me guidance, clarity. And as soon as I did, and the ones that know me well know that it took me 9 years to get a 4-year degree because I hated school. It's not for everyone, but I struggled through it and got through it. And God said, no, I didn't tell you to sell everything that I have blessed you with and uproot your life and Lucy's life, and to put yourself and everyone else and me, being the Lord of all things, and stressing me out watching you go through another chapter of school. I've called you to this, and I will get you through this. I will guide your steps. But I need you to sit down, be still, listen, and follow my guidance. Well, those of you that know me know that that was not easy. And that was not exactly what I wanted to hear. I don't want to sit still. I don't want to be quiet. And I kind of like doing my own thing. Most humans do. But I was obedient. And in that time, he didn't say, oh, and by the way, don't eat everything in sight. But I did and gained over 100 pounds. But we would get to later. I'm needing you to follow what I'm telling you to do, growing your faith, growing your ministry. And in that time, it was a year or so that I did. I let go of a lot of toxic things that was in my life, a relationship I was in that I didn't need to be in. I love them, but things have to go when you're going through a sanctification. And a lot of people don't want to be in your life because you're not old Brandy anymore, or the old you. You're becoming who God has called you to be, and they don't want to be a part of that. They think that they have to act differently around you, which is not. I don't ask anyone in my life to act differently around me. That's a misconception. But they will flee from you. People that are not living the life that you are will flee from you, and the ones that are in your life that are drawn to you and want to be, your encourager and you encourage them, they're going to draw closer to you. And other people that you don't know will come into your life. And it's kind of like a magnet situation. So in that time, as I said, I just said, well, God, what do you want me to do with this ministry? I mean, do you want me to go to a church and ask if I can preach or teach, or sit down, listen, be still, and obey? Okay. Now I like things to move along, and I like everything to be, kind of just planned out. And our sense of time and God's sense of timing, they're far off. Once I just started saying, okay, Lord, whatever, here I am. I'm sitting here just waiting. In that time, I was doing a daily devotional, and occasionally I would post it on my Facebook page, and I would think, well, that touched me, maybe someone else, it'll touch them. And I started getting such a great response that I started doing it every day. And I would get people saying lots of things. And that's when I realized that my ministry was going to be different. There's a lot of churches. There's a lot of ministers on TV. But a lot of people are not going to those churches. There are empty churches everywhere for a lot of different reasons. And I've been hurt by churches. And I've been loved by churches. But people have just gotten out of the habit of going on Sundays. And my ministry started reaching people that have never been to church or had stopped going to church. But they said, "You're giving me encouragement. Thank you." And I realized, and God said, "This is your ministry. So step it up." But in that, He said, you have to self-evaluate yourself every day to make sure that you're not being a hypocrite. It's very easy to preach to y'all what you should do, but to practice and live out what you preach is a lot harder. Trust me. Each day I'm like, God, if I start stepping out of line, and I have friends in my life, my family as I call them, my friends who are my family, they will step me back in line if I get out and go, that's not a good example. And I appreciate it. Even if it hurts me in the moment that they say it and it stings, you're like, who are you to say that about me? Well, they know that my ministry means so much to me. And they know how close my walk is with the Lord. That they want me to be the best version of me, and I for them. If I ever come to you, it's not a criticism or a judgment. I'm just telling you, you're professing one thing and you're living a different one. Stop being hypocrites. And I start with myself each and every day. That meant I had to start looking around. I was obese. I was in very bad health. My house was every drawer, closet, cabinet, my garage, my storage. Even though it was very organized, it was packed full of crap that I wasn't using. That is gluttony. That is sinful. When you have so much stuff and it's just packed up in boxes or in drawers or in closets and you're never going to use it, it is wasteful. It is sinful. And I started purging. And in August of 2018, I started purging my house left and right. I mean, truckloads of stuff I donated to Goodwill. I sold things on Facebook Marketplace. I had yard sales, and I had closet sales where people could actually just come, and I would have stuff in closets. This is this size. This is this. You just go in there and shop. There's places to try it on. Private sales in my home. And as I started losing weight, because that is a big time thing that I had to work on in self-control, because people are going to see you, and if you're overweight and you're preaching self-discipline, you're showing that you're not self-disciplined when you're overweight and out of shape and your health is bad. And I prayed about it. I turned that finally, because it all happened at 11. My weight gain, my call, being saved, all these things happened at that time. And I struggled with them until I laid them down. And you're always going to have struggles in life. My weight will always be a struggle. That is my affliction. Some people have gambling. Some people have sex addiction. Some have food. That's mine. Spending. Just all kinds of addictions. Those things you are afflicted for to grow you closer to the Lord, to help you have self-control over those things. And I said, Lord, help me with my weight. I'm laying this down at the cross. I can't carry this any longer. He sent me to Weight Watchers. every commercial, everything on Facebook, everywhere I turned, Weight Watchers. I thought, oh, I've done Weight Watchers before. I've done every diet under the sun. Just let me go back to the weight loss doctor and lose it fast. No. It is, I am so thankful. I thank God every day for Weight Watchers. Because not only have I got my health where it's so close to me at my goal weight of 100 pounds lost, but my health, I am taking no medications. He led me to a natural healing doctor where I only take natural supplements, and it led me to some of the most amazing people. My very best friend, Terry. I did not know her 3 years ago at this time. She and her family have become my family. We've been on this journey together. She started Weight Watchers a week prior to me. She encouraged me to do a half marathon. We did it together. We trained together. Her family and I mean, they're mine. Her daughter, her grandchildren, her son-in-law, you know, and her daughter's in-laws. They're just a great family. I got all of that when I surrendered to the Lord about my weight problems. And He led me to Weight Watchers. It led me to so many wonderful people in my meetings that I love so dearly. And my leader, Janice, is such a blessing. So when you finally surrender, God starts doing the work in you, and you start seeing these changes. And the old person you once was, you no longer desire to be that person. Old habits of shopping, because people's like, well, you've lost all this weight, now you get to go shopping. I'm like, yeah, down the hall in my closet. Because I had clothes anywhere from a 22 to a size 6. So as I've purged, I'm no longer, because when I told the Lord, if you will help me get my health in a good place and help me get this weight off, I will never go back to my old habits. I didn't make that promise to me, because I would have broke that promise so long ago. I'd have been still in that rut. I left it in the Lord's hands. I made Him the promise. He's held up His end of the deal, and I'm holding up mine. Yes, I have bad days, and I do go and eat things that I shouldn't, and I have weeks where I'm up instead of down at weigh-in. But I say, Lord, I need your help. I can't do this without you. He steps right in. He says, well, you know what you did wrong. I forgive you. You need to forgive yourself, and you need to pick yourself up, and you need to work harder this week. And then you'll have a loss. And I do. It's all about self-control. Sin is a lack of self-control. We know what sin is, and it is heartbreaking to the Lord. So if I went back to my old habits of spending, eating, all of that, He would be so disappointed, and He would block blessings that He has in my plan for being disobedient. And when I'm obedient and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, it amazes me how the Lord shows up and shows out. I highly recommend, whatever your calling is, surrender to it. Whatever your affliction is, whatever is giving you anxiety and work and stress, lay it down at the cross. I am a living, breathing testament of how God can change your life, heal you when you are obedient to Him. My life, if you had told me 5 years ago when I turned 40 where you will be when you turn 45, I would have laughed. Getting up at 4 a.m. to work out? Are you kidding me? I'm the person that said nothing good happens before noontime. I'm getting up at times when I would have been going to bed on the weekends, is because I am nocturnal by nature. But because I made that promise to the Lord, I'm not distracted at 4 a.m. to get up and work out. There's not phone calls, there's not emails, there's not Facebook messages, there's not things to do. So I get up, I spend my time with the Lord, and I go across the hall and get on my Peloton. Or on Saturday mornings, Terry and Mark and I, we go to the mountain on days that we can, and we walk. As I say every day on one of my posts, do something today your future self will thank you for. Ask the Lord to direct that. Ask Him for strength. He will provide it. I promise you that. But you have to take that first step in faith. Because He has the plan. He already knows the path He wants you to take. But He is not a dictator. You have to activate Him into your plan of action. And that takes you going, Lord, I need you. Help me with this. Show me. Give me discernment. Guide my steps. Give me strength when I'm weak. He understands. He came in flesh as Jesus Christ to walk so He would understand our struggles. He was tempted. He never gave in to them. But He knows what it's like to be tempted, and that's why He can have mercy and grace for us. I beg you to answer the call. It can lead you to things you never imagined. My ministry, I was reading through Twitter, and I read an article about Coach Kiffin, and he was at FAU at the time, and the Lord said, send him the devotional, a copy of it, the one that you're working on right now. Well, my first thought was, no. This was in November of 2018. I was on vacation, and it was raining, and I was just scrolling through Twitter, and I'd been following him for years, but I didn't at that time get on Twitter a great deal. So I was like, well, let's just see what he's up to. Well, that was in November. I would pass book submitting every day. The Lord would say, send that to Coach Kiffin, send that to... No. He's going to think I'm some religious nut and probably have a restraining order. I mean, I don't know him personally. So finally, when it came time for me to buy my devotional to do for 2019, I got him a copy of the one I did in 2018. I sent it. I thought, well, thank goodness. I sent a letter kind of trying to explain it. Sent it, and I thought, he may not ever even get it. I'm sure there's people go through his mail, and he gets so much stuff, he'll probably never get it. A few weeks later, he started following me on Twitter. He sent me a message thanking me. And 1 year later, almost to the day, he had mentioned, if you ever get to Boca and you're here, let me know, and I'll set you up with tickets and everything you need for an FAU football game. Well, I made time to go to Boca, and it was one of the greatest trips of my life. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Had I not been obedient and do what the Lord told me to do, I wouldn't have met all these wonderful people. My friend, my brother Lenny, that I talk to on Twitter every single day, and Mark, and then the staff, and I got to meet Coach Kiffin and his dad and the players, and they made me feel like that I was a celebrity, and I was no one. But they came up and thanked me for coming from Alabama. What a blessing. The Lord was just like, see what happens when you do what I tell you to do. Since then, I've stayed in contact with Coach Kiffin, and through his move to Ole Miss, I've gained more followers from that, and it's grown my ministry, and I get to minister to so many more people. Like about 3 weeks ago, I got a message from a minister in Uganda who said, "Thank you so much for posting those devotionals every single day. I share them with my congregation." And I'm planning to send him a copy of that devotion because they don't have it over there. He checked. And so I said, it would be my honor to send that to you. Something that was put on my heart at 11 years old is now impacting people in countries so far away. I would have to actually look on a map to know where it's at. And someone from Albertville, Alabama, from a rural Baptist church in the beginnings, is now impacting people in Uganda and all over the United States. I have people all over the place that message me, "Thank you." One small step out on faith can lead to such big, big changes and blessings. And as you all know, you can contact me anytime to pray with you about anything. And everything we do should be to build the kingdom. We are sent here to be kingdom builders, Christ representatives. God wastes nothing. As you've heard through the other 5 parts of this series, I've been through a lot in my life. You've been through a lot. Use what you have gone through to minister to others, because God wastes nothing. Be a light to other people, because it not only blesses them and helps them, but it also heals things inside of you and blesses you, and the Lord brings more blessings. When you are more obedient, He just shows out. We don't deserve it, but I'm thankful to God every day that He thinks we are worth it. I thank you all for taking time to listen to these different chapters of my life, and I look forward to sharing the rest of my life with you. And it's led me to my YouTube channel, and Terry's sister helped me, who is now another one of my sisters. She helped me set this up. So, Tanya, thank you. Thank you so much. And to all of you that take time each week to listen to my sermons and read my posts every day and send me positive encouragement and thanks, I thank you. Because without you and your encouragement, it would be very difficult. I would do it because God called me to do it. But you all make it so worth it. Anytime someone says, "I needed that today," oh my goodness, thank you for sharing all of this. I had no idea this went on in your life. Well, I'm thankful that I have this platform to share it with you. And I look forward to my future now. And my word for 2021 is expectancy. And I am joyfully expecting God to do great things through me and for me, so I can continue to bless you all and help and encourage you. No, I don't have a theology degree. And I have to study the Bible very, very carefully, because I want to be a Bible teaching minister. Not what the world is trying out here to tell us what's right and wrong. I get into the Bible every single day, morning and night. And I just encourage you to strengthen your walk with the Lord. Thank you again for all that you all do each and every day to lift me up. I hope that I can somehow lift you up each and every day. Until we meet again, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. And may God bless you all.